Hello everyone and welcome to the very first episode of Flexibility with Fran YouTube channel. I'm super excited to start this venture for many reasons, but the main one is because I get to share all of the little insights to flexibility for climbers. And today I am here at the depot, Manchester, to film a little trick that you can try if you're trying to improve your squats of any kind, really. Something a little bit overseen that might really help you get in a bit deeper and feeling a little bit more comfortable with yourself when you squat. So let's get into it. When we come to squat, there is often a very overlooked side of the body. We always think of squatting as an issue or a workout of the hips, but the reality is that there's a lot more joints involved in squatting. And one of the most overlooked joints that you can think of in the body as you come to squatting is the ankle. So today I'm going to take you through a little ankle opening drill. And that should help you finding a deeper or a more comfortable squat, as well as finding a much better engagement if you're climbing on slabs. If you can't get your knee over your toe, then squatting will be incredibly difficult. Hence why a lot of people send some sliders or some elevation under their heels to make it a lot easier, which is fine. But if you want to go and climb a volumey slab, then you might not be able to elevate your heel. And so I think this drill will be really useful for you to try out. To test it out, I'm going to be doing a squat now after I've warmed up a little bit, but not specifically into the ankles. And then I'm going to be squatting later and see if I can spot any differences myself. Hopefully that will encourage you to try it too. So let's give it a go. Let's see what my squatting is like right now. So I'm finding a little bit of resistance as I go low, and I have to lean a lot forward through my hands and squeeze really hard through my hip flexors to not fall backwards. Sideways, it kind of looks like this. I'm getting resistance here. I'm trying to drive my knees over my toes, but it feels really difficult. And I'm now sitting back, but squeezing really hard to hold this. Starting off with some controlled articular rotation for the ankles. Controlled articular rotations are rotations of the joint, so movements in the joint that we do to try and isolate what's moving into the ankle from what's moving into the connected parts of the body. So very often when we rotate our ankle, we do it so mindlessly that we're also rotating our knee. But we're going to try isolate the knee entirely and to just really work into what the ankle can do on its own. So let's grab hold of one of our knees, trying to maintain the hands squeezed into the side so you don't feel any movement around the tibia area, around the top of the knee area. And then with this, we're going to try and find a rotation. If you're feeling like your hands are getting movement under it, it means that you're probably rotating a little bit too far and using your knee. Drive your toes all the way into the shin and then try and rotate it out without twisting fully and feeling the motion into the knee. Same thing goes for pointing. So as you come down into your rotation, try and extend all the way, plantar flex. So we're flexing the back of the foot, pointing the toes, and then driving all the way up. Let's do a few rounds on the other side. And then we'll repeat onto the other ankle, grabbing hold of the side of the knee. Very good. Okay. Once you've done with your controlled articular rotation, we're getting into the main drill called Pails and rails. Now, if you looked at the video without listening to my instruction, it would look like you're doing absolutely nothing. This is kind of the purpose of it, as it's called an isometric effort. Isometric means static, so there is no motion in the effort. There will be, however, a lot of contracting and a lot of trying hard. So let's get into it. All you need for this drill is a wall and somewhere you can stand and have enough space for a lunge. So you're going to get settled into the wall in a lunge position, working with the back ankle. And you can start further away from the wall as we progress into the stretch and into the drill. You may notice that you can go further, so don't get too close right away, otherwise there's no space for improvement. Starting with the hands on the wall, getting settled here. What I want you to do is just begin to lean forward until you feel like a passive stretch into the back ankle. So you should feel maybe something a bit coming up all the way up into your calves, or maybe just simply into the Achilles tendon and around that area of the joint. If you have a watch at the ready, then it'll be easier to check in your times. And we're going to be holding this stretch for about 2 minutes. I'm going to explain now what happens at the end of the passive stretch. So you will start to create an intention of effort by pressing your toes down towards the ground. So imagine that this is my foot, the back foot, and I'm going to try and drive my toes down to almost imagine like I'm trying to come away from the stretch. Obviously, because there's a floor and the floor is a lot stronger and harder than us, then it's not going to happen. We're only going to feel the effort for it, but you won't see anything moving or ever so slightly moving. At the end of this effort, we're going to repeat it and increasing the intensity a little bit. So let's give it a go. We're going in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Begin to drive the back toes down in towards the floor. Feel that sort of engagement happening around the area that you were stretching just before, and hold there at your 30-40% intensity for another 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now relax the muscles, but don't come away. See if you can find the same position and the same engagement again. This time we're going to drive up the intensity of it up to max intensity. So whatever is your maximum voluntary effort that you can give me here. Ramping it up, of course, slowly. So we're starting by finding a 30-40%, drive the toes down. Increase the intensity, press down, press down, press down, press down, press down. Go all the way up to when you feel like maybe you're shaking a little bit. Trying to drive in the toes down, trying to drive that heel down as well. Give me your max effort, and we're going for 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2. Now take a deep breath and try and pull your toes up. So whilst you were doing this before, now we're trying to drive the toes up, and you should feel like your shins at the front are beginning to engage as well. That's exactly what we want. Just continue pulling your toes up towards the shins, the shin towards the toes. Give me some 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Now lean and relax into this newly found range. So you should still feel a passive stretch, but there's no activation now, and we're going to be holding it here for a few more breaths. Very nice. Come away nice and slow. And then just take a little moment to shake out. You might feel a bit stiff, that's very normal. You just created more space in your joint. And by doing the activation around the stretch, so you're pulling and pressing, you've also created strength in the range that you've just acquired. So it should feel like a little smoother, a little softer, and that you can also kind of drive your knee forward more in towards the toes. Now all you have to do is repeat the exact same thing on the other side. So you can get settled again. Make sure that you remember which one was your back leg working. Starting away from the wall. And we'll repeat the same process again. 2 minutes passive. 2 efforts driving the toes down. 1 effort driving the toes up. And then relax into your passive range. taking off the other side. Taking a little moment, and now we're going to go and test our squat and see if it has improved at all. Hopefully, otherwise the purpose of this video is kind of, you know.
Now, before we get into the squatting, I just want to say that for climbing purposes, it's worth training your ankle in all directions, as well as for life purposes, obviously, to avoid spraining your ankles or finding injuries. It's really good if you can work with your foot frontwards, work with your foot inwards, and work with your foot outwards. But for the purpose of this video, I just showed you into kind of a normal lunging position, which is the most kind of often position where we use our ankle for squatting. So let's give the squat a go and see if at least I don't feel like I'm falling backwards as much, and maybe I can try and pull my knees a little bit more in towards the toes now that I've opened up space. Let's go. I'm able to drive my knees forward more, my hands don't have to try so hard, and when I get here there's still a little bit of pull, but I can almost relax my hands without falling forward. Great news. From the side, let's give it a go. I'm not sure if you can see the differences from the video, but I can feel a lot less stiff in coming down. There's still a little bit of heaviness towards the back of the body. This is probably due to the fact that it's morning and I've not warmed up my hips as much as I normally would, but the ankles feel solid. I don't have to work my shins as hard as I did before. And as I come here and down, I don't have to stick my bum out and lean forward as much to come down. I can stay a bit more upright, which is the trick of the ankles.
I hope you enjoyed the video and that it was somewhat useful for your squat practice. Let me know in the comments how you found it, if you have any questions, and I'll see you for the next episode of Flexibility with Fran. See you soon. Tester. To be filming of the 2 minutes, I will explain what the two next. Sniffly nose, great for filming. So to test it out, we will be